It's a busy period right now, and so for you to be able to dedicate 45 minutes to this, I really appreciate it, and I owe you coffee or a steak dinner or something. Your time is very valuable, so I appreciate it, man.
No problem. And this looks great. It's a neat project you guys are working on. Like I said, congrats, and that's really exciting for you guys. It looks great. I mean, you guys have put a lot of great work into it. So
Yeah, I appreciate
I'm
it.
excited.
Yeah, and like I said, John was the first person we ever sat with to when we were thinking through the idea.
Maybe
it's been a while.
I think I was too harsh because this is evolved magnificently. Because the other one was just like a PowerPoint.
Using it.
No questions. Like my question is: are all of your modules representing the male player? Obviously, like you can see that I'm in the female game, so flipping for females, they need to see females doing it, not just males.
Good question. So, as you are aware, the game quality, even we have videos from even La Liga of Women and also even NWSL, and some of them they're still using the video. And we have a video, and it's just not quite enough. So you brought up a good question. So what we're doing is we're actually working on getting on track with the women's, someone in the media. So we have some contacts that we're going to be accessing to work with MWSL to have access, because now that they have that big contract with ESPN, and I will know that quality is going to be better, broadcast quality, right? And so in the meantime, what we've done is that's why we have some female voiceover to give a little bit of representation, right? But you bring up.
I think, I think with anything, like obviously individual coaches are the ones who are like, okay, well, what is this going to add on to things I'm doing? And but it seems like, it's all kind of running in the background that sort of kids will get direct access to. Coach doesn't have to manage it, which I think is always a good thing, as a, in my role, that's kind of one of those things where it's, that it's asking a lot of coaches to understand the content, how to deliver it, and pay attention to all that we're sending out. Having something that's kind of an additional tool that they don't have to manage I think is a good thing. It seems like in terms of the content, obviously I think any club, Alexandria included, that will have like club game principles that are, more shaped towards how that particular club maybe sees the game and wants to teach their players. But I think it's the way you have the principles. Like you said, these aren't specific to a certain playing style. These are just the 101s of defending, or it seemed like maybe in like the week one you had, I'm not sure if this is like how it's the pattern of it, but it's like, it seems like the principles defending, and then the technical was like a solution related to the principle for the first defender. Type of thing.
It's a platform, and so a lot of people. So those are some of the questions, right? Do you use Play Matrix? Do you use Team Snap? It allows us to, to help with the onboarding process. That was really it. Do you have any questions or anything else that you want to?
No, I just think I think it's really good. I think you need to keep competition involved. Like, competition is key.
My club fees would be $3,000 instead of $2,850 maybe, and then I just make sure everybody has an account.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you so much for your time, Michelle. I still owe you that bottle, so we'll do that.
Okay. I'll take a bottle.
Yeah. We'll definitely do that. All right. I appreciate the time.
Very good, you guys. I'm excited to see more. So when you just send the email, I just have a call with Greg, so I'll be happy to discuss that with them. Really good job.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay.
Take care.
All right.
Have a good week.
Bye. Nice meeting you.
For me. If you have any questions or any feedback, this is, for me, the most important thing was to get feedback from the directors we're talking to, and in this case, yourself, on this call.
Yeah. What is, so with the video analytics piece is pretty cool. So that would all be internal. So like the AI's chopping the video down, and then the coach would have tools within the app to circle, make the arrows.
Yep.
And put
All
that
that.
in.
Yep.
Everything.
We'll launch it in the fall. Once Arlington wants is going to be part of it by June, we'll sit with you and maybe your coaches or whoever you want to be part of.
I was just about to say that, before we close off, just in regards to, who do we need to get involved to get this, get this implemented in that timeline. I have a couple, obviously you met Javi, but bringing on, 2 more people that, as we're big on coaching education, but we're also trying to, modernize certain things and standardize and using technology as well. So this could help with that, because we're, I'm having technical advisors at Zone 1, Zone 2, and Zone 3. I see this being a Zone 1, maybe Zone 2. The Zone 3 is more of the video stuff, to be fair. So I could probably get those 3 guys, not the Zone 3, because I don't think it's until you get this AI thing sorted out and what does it look like, what it will be. I don't think is something that we could implement right now, unless it's something that obviously you come back and say is this and that and this is how it would work, right? But otherwise, the other side seems like it's more kind of ready to go now. Meaning like kind of implemented on the younger ages. So we can talk to these guys and see how this could be connected to the curriculum that we're putting together and the rollout that we have as well, right? And can that be connected with it? And I'm not saying that this wouldn't. As a matter of fact, it's very, very interesting. It's just like at the moment, unless you have a set way, this is how it would work for from subscription to what do you get for it, or with a subscription, you can pick and choose. You can pick package, A could be this, package B could be this, package C could be this, because it may be a U16 kid that is kind of on the lower level, not the academy guy, but the lower that may benefit from, the package B, right? That, that may have one video analysis and the entire thing, or the other could be just access to limited to this, or in the full access to the video stuff, right? Or the more advanced piece of it. I would break it into the different zones, because that's how. I mean, I'm not saying that you should do it, but that's how I would look at it. Breaking it out by zones.
You've seen or heard.
That was a lot.
It's a very comprehensive platform.
No, for sure. And I think like right after that, when you started talking about 7v7, there's so with our club and soccer, with our soccer education, so a lot of stuff that you started, you were talking about in terms of like learning, positions and principles of play. I've created a lot of videos for the club, but it takes so much time, right? Yeah. To do 7v7, 9v9, 11 inside, and then to try going to like various positions and stuff like that. And also like the big thing that what we're talking about as a club now is that I'm pushing everybody to really learn their roles and responsibilities, right? Per position, right? So per position, so that way they know some of the things to what some of the expectations when they get on the field. What are things that I really love about what you just presented was just showing what things look like on the field, but then going to a live video feed where a player or a professional player is actually demonstrating the skill, right? Putting things in situations, right? Making them situational, so that way the player can connect, right, visually with with what they're supposed to be looking at.
In 2 minutes, they have it. They can just go in and do it. They can do it on their phone wherever they are. So we've made it so it's so easy for the coaches. Get involved as much as you want. Some of the coaches that we've spoken to, they love it so much they want to get involved every time. But to your point, that's not all. That's outliers. Most coaches are lazy and we're part of it. I'll tell you the same as me. Most coaches want to do less. directors have to do more work, but most coaches want to do less. So we've made it that way. So it's driven by the coaches, and coaches get involved as much as they want. Club directors get involved as much as they want. Right. That was put a lot of thought into that as well. And we can white label it for Lima and Vernon colors as well.
Right. And I mentioned with that. No, I like it. I think it's a good project and a good initiative for help the players continue to grow. It's added information that they would have had, but not in this format.
And then I want to talk to you about production, and I also want to talk to you about the business side of it, right? So I could take questions, or I could end by telling you the business side, however way you want to approach it.
Yeah, I mean, I was taking down some notes. It was just like, I mean, I like, it's like I'm like blown away. I'm like, wow. It's like, because it's not just, yeah, it's not just also, I'm looking at it, it's not just also for the players, it's also for the parents, where it's like, hey, look, now there's accountability. Is your child following through? And now we can have a discussion, not just on my opinion and what I see. Now you actually have a tracking thing to be like, look, they didn't do the work they were supposed to do, or they really did. Now the parent can come with some more credibility. Hey, my child has done this. It's like, hey, now we have a platform for them to look to see how to improve. It's like, yeah, they've done the work, but has there any been improvement?
Exactly.
That's the first. That's what we all want, because that's what it's like. Hey, how do we improve? I've given you instruction. You have, just like in school. So now they have grades. They have this, so they can see the growth. So I mean, I like that one. And the question I have with the condensed video, which is huge, especially when you get older kids looking for college, looking for higher levels. And then, I mean, this, like I said, I'm like blown away. I'm like, whoa. I was like, where is this when I was playing? And some of these clubs are, they're charging anywhere between $3,500 to like $5,000 for a season, a year, and it's just like, wow. So now this can also help them justify that as far as what they're charging, but then I can also see them charging even more. It's like, it's like, oh great, we got this. Now it's $7,000 because we're doing collegiate, we're doing professional training, we're doing all this stuff. So, but you basically are helping the coaches with their education that are there, because they can gear towards whatever the club philosophy is. Because, like you said, this is all basis for everything. I'm looking at it. I'm like 2, 3, 1. I'm like, yes, but then that's my favorite, because it translates to the next level and next level.
Right.
Where I see coaches who are playing 3 in the back, and I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, it doesn't translate. So, but you can do it. But and it'll teach the coach. It keeps everybody in uniform. Whether they go to this club or that club, they have the base, the foundation. I like that. The videos I like, because then now you see in real time with real players. Okay.
And we customize it for the club, and it will be for just that club's.
Gotcha.
Right. So let's say World Class New York. We do customization for them. All their players will have on this stuff. Their sponsor will be there. So another club will have different one.
Gotcha. Right. That's what I was gonna go into that, because I mean, I have contacts with the juggernauts, Sousa out here, which have like 1 million. They're just swallowing up, and then it's still world class. And then there's Long Island Soccer Club and stuff. There's a lot of clubs out here that would be definitely interested in this for sure. Like world class, it uses like technique football, but it's just the same thing, but it's just basically videos on the training. Yeah, it's just technical. Right. Whereas this is basically for the club. Whereas it's technical, and it has everything, and it even has for it's club wise, like an individual wise. You guys offer individual training. I mean technical training in this as well.
That was it. And then I want to talk to you about production, and I also want to talk to you about the business side of it, right? So I could take questions, or I could end by telling you the business side. However way you want to approach it.
Yeah, I mean, I was taking down some notes. It was just like, I mean, I like, it's like I'm like blown away. I'm like, wow. It's like, because it's not just, it's not just also, I'm looking at it, it's not just also for the players, it's also for the parents, where it's like, hey, look, now there's accountability. Is your child following through? And now we can have a discussion, not just on my opinion and what I see. Now you actually have a tracking thing to be like, look, they didn't do the work they were supposed to do, or they really did. Now the parent can come with some more credibility. Hey, my child has done this. It's like, hey, now we have a platform for them to look to see how to improve. It's like, yeah, they've done the work, but has there any been improvement?
Exactly.
That's the first. That's what we all want, because that's what it's like. Hey, how do we improve? I've given you instruction. You have, just like in school, So now they have grades. They have this, so they can see the growth. So I mean, I like that one. And the question I have with the condensed video, which is huge, especially when you get older kids looking for college, looking for a higher level. That was, this, like I said, I'm like blown away. I'm like, whoa. I was like, where is this when I was playing? And some of these clubs are, they're charging anywhere between $3,500 to like $5,000 for a season, a year. And it's just like, wow. So now this can also help them justify that as far as what they're charging, but then I can also see them charging even more. It's like, it's like, oh, great, we got this. Now it's $7,000 because we're doing collegiate, we're doing professional training, we're doing all this stuff. So, but you basically are helping the coaches with their education that are there, because they can gear towards whatever the club philosophy is. Because, like you said, this is all basis for everything. I'm looking at it, I'm like 2, 3, 1. I'm like, yes, but then that's my favorite, because it translates to the next level and next level.
Right.
Where I see coaches who are playing 3 in the back, and I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, it doesn't translate. So, but you can do it, but and it'll teach the coach. It keeps everybody in uniform. Whether they go to this club or that club, they have the base, the foundation. I like that. The videos I like, because then now you see in real time with real players.
I think it is really cool. I think the two things that jumped out to me right away, because there's obviously, for like the component of a coach using it for their players, there's parts that it's pulling from different things. So I think being able to put in any type of video is great, because that's one thing that with all of us coaches, some of us have huddle cameras, some have VO, some have whatever, or even if you're just doing it with a handheld camera, right? Like, it is frustrating when you go and, someone has huddle, it's like, well, I have VO and it's not compatible, and they're just downloading it as a regular video, and now there's nowhere to edit it. And that's what to be fair, that's what we use VidSwap for right now. Okay. VidSwap is our kind of dumping ground. Mm-hmm. So what we do a lot is we screen, because we don't have a film share like the Division I uses Huddle for. We don't have it. Mm. So if I want to watch, let's say, Marymount, which is kind of a lower level Division III team, I have to screen record one of their broadcasts. Right. Download that screen recording, and then we put it into VidSwap, and now in VidSwap we can edit it from there. Right. Which is a lot of. However, VidSwap, then we can't, send it through VO, and so our kids have access to our VidSwap and our VO, and it, it's not mainstream. So I like the ability for that to accept VO, Huddle, whatever, any source, and then it does help that way. And then obviously the technology and AI and all that is really cool. Then, like you said, the recruiting aspect is really cool. That was what I was going to ask about before you brought it up. And then, of course, you talked about the money side. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to charge for feedback. I mean, obviously we have to look into it, but like, we charge them to come to an ID camp, and we're not even mandated to give feedback from an ID camp.
Oh shoot! You just hit on something. You're right. Maybe it could be part of you charge. They come to ID camp, but like for an extra $100, it could be part of what they select to actually receive feedback. Right, you're right. I don't know the NCAA rules, but it's something that maybe if you look into it, because that's extra.
There is already a precedent in they pay us for feedback. I mean, that's the literal premise of an ID camp.
Right.
However, again, it's called an ID camp, not like a feedback camp, because we are only obligated to ID them. We're only obligated to watch.
Right.
Some coaches are like, I don't give feedback. Some coaches give zero feedback, and they'll only read to the kids they liked.
Right.
You know, some coaches do it the old school way, where they fill out an eval form for every single kid and send it. We more so send it to the kids we like, and then anybody who reaches out and asks for feedback, we will provide it. But if they don't ask, we're not going to fill it out for 100 separate kids.
Yeah.
So I think there is a way to make the money side work, whether you, like you said, you have to pair it with an ID camp, or maybe we are just allowed to be our own entities, just like our current players even could do it for NIL. Like our center back could be giving feedback to other center backs, so why couldn't we do that as coaches?
Man,
so again, I think there are.
Oof, you just hit on something that I hadn't thought, because it was always like, man, how can we do it, you know, and have help like colleges make money
of everything. But yeah, this stuff is, I mean, it's actually crazy. I was going to wait to tell you this. In the middle of the night last night, I woke up in my bed and I wrote down just a thought that I was having from, I guess, a dream or whatever. Okay. I said, make a coaching review app which has subscriptions. Players pay per clip they want downloaded, and coaches go in and give feedback on video. Mark up film, do film review for a monthly or per clip payment. Zoom, full game, whatever. Club players can get feedback from the coaches they admire or want to be recruited by. I can get pep if I pay enough. Instead of these dumb recruiting services that are the middleman, you can just go to the source of the coach. I wrote that at 3:04 a.m.
Holy shit, Sean. I mean, wow. And we hadn't even talked about this.
Yeah, I wrote that at 3:04 a.m. and I had to write it down. I texted my wife in the middle of the night, so it was on paper. But yeah, that was at 3:04 a.m.
Wow. It's actually very freaky, right? Just everything you just said. I mean, this is what this is in a way, right?
To the software is building college profiles more than just like size and location,
right?
But geographical, academic standard, location. Like, so a kid could go in and make a profile and say, I want to be at a school between 3 and 6,000 or 3 and 10,000. I want to be like Zillow when you look for a house.
Right.
I want to be I want to be within an hour's drive of the coast. I want to be somewhere where the average temperature during the fall season is 75 degrees or higher. I want to be, and just like have all of these things.
Right.
Then it forms their list of schools.
Right.
And then if CNU pops up in that list, they go, holy crap, I would have never thought CNU would be on the same list as, William and Mary or whatever.
Right.
And then when that happens, they could connect again with that school, but then the schools then can reverse search it and find the kids that way too.
Right.
And say, oh, this kid has a 74% match to CNU based off of her top 10 priorities. That's a good match. So then we know when, like you said, we search for a 5'10" center back, this kid has a 2% match. Well, I'm not going to reach out to that kid because she won't even consider whatever. Right. But like this kid has a 95% match. So then I go, hey, you're a 95% match. She goes, oh, I thought I was going to go D1. Well, what schools have better than a 95% for you? Like that could be a cool spot.
Feature to the system, right? Yeah, no, it's funny. Again, Sean, who knows? Like, it's again, love that feedback. I will, like I said, you are on top of the list of like once we want to do stuff with having a college coach, whether it's full time, whether it's as a consultant, right? As we're building the college side, the college side of the recruiting part of the platform, right? So no, I love that. I love the feedback. I will. I'm going to create. I'm going to create like. I'm going to look on your site. Like create an account for just so you can try it out, right? And send your CNU account for you. And we'll send it and we'll load up some stuff, and you can actually load some of your videos in there, and try to play around with it, and then go from there. And we'd love for CNU to use the system or try it out now and then use it in the fall, and then we're going to look at that whole recruiting stuff, right? How to use it, because I think it's a huge money maker for even the institutions. If your kids or the colleges can give feedback as part of your whole ID or whatever during the year and all that, or the opposite is maybe you send certain kids, like any kid that comes in, like we want a full game, or you don't, the only way is use the system, and then we would actually then compensate you, like whatever they pay. We say, okay, we're gonna, still give you the 70% and keep, so there are ways around how we can potentially do that, right? Again, based on what NCAA says,
Yeah, and that's something that I would really be interested in, is consulting for the college side of it in whatever capacity that is, because I do think there is a gap in the marketplace, like, NCSA.
How can we make the recruiting stuff better for coaches, for colleges, right? Save them time and all that stuff, exact match, and then the feedback that you added, if we can make it the opposite where, these kids can go in there and fill certain things, and then it's an exact match in terms of what they're looking for, right? And then the coach then can come there. So it's two-way street, right? It matches CNU and the coaches come and say, oh, wow, it hits all the buttons of the parameter. Or maybe it doesn't, even though it so.
And that's where AI is, because I've always had that idea of like it's a dating profile, basically.
Right.
But then it would only search for like what I put in my profile.
Right.
But with keywords and AI, like it could be something as stupid as like, wherever I go, I need there to be a Whole Foods within 10 miles.
Right.
And AI has the location of the schools and does a 10-mile radius around every school.
Right.
And then says, hey, so you get your regular short list of 50 schools. Then it takes, with the Whole Foods thing, it takes it down to 20.
Right.
Like, then you're like, okay, well, I also really love Target. Now you're at 17.
Right.
And like, it could be as simple as that, or like, whatever you need. Like AI can make it endless.
Right.
And so it doesn't even have to be the 10 questions the profile asks.
Right.
It's infinite.
Right. Well, love it. Like I said, we're going to create, this has been great. We're going to, thanks, you spend more time on this than actually, I kind of look at it too, because I know you guys have, you're busy and all that. But like I said, I'm going to create a profile, we'll send you stuff and say, hey, go in the system, check it out. And then we can, I want to make you guys one of the 5 colleges. So check it out and then play around with it. And then you can even, again, try this spring or this summer, and then we go from there. But I definitely appreciate your time, as always.
Well, I appreciate you thinking of us. And again, this stuff, as you can tell, gets me excited. So I appreciate you.
You just freak me out with your dream. That's all. I'm like, I think Sean is one of us. Like, he's going to be, we have to do stuff with him. So I think it's going to happen.
I got the timestamp to prove it too, and I didn't get the link, so it's not even like I could have researched it.
Right.
I just, it is kind of freaky, because it was like it just was a vision, which that gets it a whole nother world. But
no, it's crazy.
It.
No, I appreciate it, Sean. Thanks so much. We'll be in touch.
Yep, we'll be in. Sure. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
What tool are you using to cut?
Sports code.
Okay, right, and you
sports code.
Right.
I said, and you can have, like I said, and I said we'll go through it, right? Like we're doing the same thing, right? Every touch of the player, and we're analyzing that and looking at it. Is this a good fit? And with all these international kids,
right?
You're watching 3 games of the one player, So, I mean, how much that would expedite that process for us if I just putting that in. Next day I have all the cuts already. I'm watching that. Sometimes you need a little more context from the game. But I think if you get 3 games like that, if you want to dig in more.
Right.
So that would be beneficial, and for sure we do the same thing though for the players. Like when we have the games, that this could save us a lot of time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually funny. Deportivo, when we spoke to them, they use Longomatch in Spain. It's like this software, it's called Longomatch in all the Spanish clubs, and they're like, man, it takes just like they have to go in and cut every one of them. And they looked at this and like, man, this will save us like 70% of the time. And the coaches were happy about it because you put it in, the system does everything for you. Right.
And then it's gone. Right now, it's like it's not in the way.
Right.
If something's really tight, it could maybe get in the way.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah. Good feedback. No, definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah, I think the concepts really could be beneficial. I think the other way you could use it is that what we started to do in the fall is trying to highlight some key aspects of individual players of the opponent. So
right.
Like, if the team has a good winger, something that we can give our outside back, like, hey, here's his tendencies. Every time he likes to cut inside.
Right.
So, like you said, you could type that in, right? Every time he dribbles inside or something like that, or every time he goes 1v1, and it could make that video that I could get and share with my player.
Oh man, could you just hit it on the nail? It's funny you mentioned because we're talking to Alexandria and the MLS Next, and one of the things Ryan Rich said was, well, what if we're playing a tournament and everything you just mentioned, it was like, now we're in the finals. We finished the semifinal. Now we know the opponent we're going to play in the finals. I know they have a very good striker, and therefore I need to do some sort of video analysis with my center backs, right? And if we have the tape of this team, let's say Saturday, can we give it to you and maybe even though it's 24 hours, we can actually deliver this back to you within a couple of hours, right? 24 is kind of like the standard. So if you called and said, look, I have this, I want to basically analyze this with my center backs, this evening before the final tomorrow, we can do that for you. So it's funny that you mentioned that part, right, to analyze the opponent.
I think for sure the time sensitive stuff is like in season if you're using it against opponents or so the stuff that's not as time sensitive, like doing it for recruiting, where you might have a day or two, it's okay.
Right.
24, like you said, if you can get that time down where you don't feel like it has to be 24, I think it could be really beneficial. Because our games in the fall is so compact with
right.
games. It's like we're cutting this stuff. Like I said, most of our cutting starts second after we get from the game, right on the bus with sports code.
Right.
Right. So we're already doing that, and I said for my own team, I like to go through it and cut it.
Right.
Myself.
Right.
But yeah, I think there's certain times where you need it. They say you just need to be more efficient and get it done.
Right.
But yeah, I could see it be really beneficial. We definitely we'd love to try it out and help you in any way with that, because I think we could put it to good use.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely appreciate that. Now, you mentioned something. Let me show you. This is the first step, right? So now I'll just, it's obviously just highlight. So I'm getting out of it.
This concept, the way I would use it is I could ask them questions on this.
Right.
And so we meet with the guys, every week.
Right.
So like their job's to come in, and I said if I did this for them on Sunday with my, I said I'm meeting with 8, 9 players. Mike's
right.
meeting with 8 or 9 players. Noel's meeting with 8 or 9 players. If we did, you do 3 clips for each guy.
Right.
You say, okay, what's a better solution?
Right.
And now they got to come and tell me what the better solution is, and they know exactly the clip, and now they're, that starts the dialogue instead of me telling them
right.
what I want. So I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you said that, because right now this tool for feedback is only for the coaches. But one of the things we thought about is, what if, to your point, these coaches that they want to teach, right? It's just hearing you talk, and I listen to a lot of Pep stuff, a lot of Arsene Wenger, all that stuff. And the idea of having these players actually give you the solution, that's actually deeper learning, right? Yeah. And to your point, instead of me telling them, I want to know. So we're actually going to eventually give the kids access to feedback tools that they themselves have to self-analyze their play and maybe submit it to the coach. right? So no, that, and then the last part is this, right?
Is one thing that you could potentially make an option is that the coaches could upload their own professional video or their own video of it correct.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
Like, because I have I said, just like you showed that clip, right? I have a whole database of things that I would show.
Right.
But yeah, if there's a way to do that, I like the concept of it for sure.
Right.
How you have that.
So it's funny you mentioned the clips. So Deportivo, when we spoke to them, right, one of the things I came up with, it's kind of like all these professional teams, and we're actually about to work with Loudoun United as well. So Ryan Martin, when he was at DC United, we started testing this a few years back, right? It was just its infancy. And what he used to do is, we tested it with him, and what he used to do is, to your point, after a game, you start cutting the film right away, like on the bus or whatever. Well, he would pick 3 players because he's like, for time, like they'll be sent at the airport on the way back. So he's maximizing the use of his time. So instead of just sending there, he just will give the kids feedback. And in the bus, you just kind of like pick random kids or 3 players from the game that he felt he wanted to give feedback to, right? And in the professional side, Depot, for instance, they wanted access to they wanted to use their own game, their first team's footage to teach the academies, which makes sense. To, you know, kind of like what you just said, right? If Mason, for instance, if you had these clips that you want to use, whether it's former players or maybe last season, or maybe there's some players, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because even like you said, like that one clip that you just showed, the one with Frankie
De Jong, right, right.
Like for me, that's a perfect clip to show timing on when to show.
Right.
Right. So like, you might have it in there for one reason, and I would utilize it maybe for a different reason. So
right.
It's like, you need your own database.
Right. Right. You know, that are coming in and say, hey, you're going to be a winger.
Right. Every level, I think, is different. Right.
Right.
If you're using this for a youth team, I think just them having access, I think, is beneficial because they don't have a database like I would already have.
Right.
And I said I know exactly how I want to play. Ryan Martin knows exactly how he wants to mimic, DC United.
Right.
Like a lot of people using this, which I think is great, is it's a kind of can fit any level.
Right. Right.
It can fit your youth player that's, the coach might not have a ton of knowledge, that your videos, I think, could be really beneficial to those guys.
Right, right. No, this is what we created for. And again, I wanted your feedback. Look, after you're done, even with the feedback, you just submit to the player, right? It's just ready to submit. And, you have, let's say maybe if we had the photos for your players, you can decide either you're submitting to a specific player, or if you did a subgroup thing, to the whole subgroup, you can just select, there'll be a radio button where you select, let's say, your whole back 4 or the center mids, right? Or to the whole team. So it is, we hit it to Javi and
I mean,
right.
We actually paid extra money to Huddle to have the option to just, I said, we're cutting the whole game, right?
Right.
And then I said, I'm cutting the game for the team, and then I'm also, if I see anything specific to the players, I cut it.
Right.
Mike would cut it mainly for just the players.
Right.
And I said we paid extra last year to have it, being able to send it to them specifically to their Huddle accounts.
Right.
To have that kind of be seamless to get it to them. Which
right.
I said yours seems to be a better solution and a more time efficient solution.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate that. So yeah, good. No, I appreciate it. So like I said, if you want me to create an account or talk to I think I do create an account for you guys who upload some stuff, and then you guys can just play around with videos, or even get on with Yuri. He's like our IT guy, and who just, if he needs to do a 30-minute with you and Mike and all the other coaches, just of how you go in there, because I just did a little 30-minute. It's different than
No, maybe it's good even we'll get together or whatever. But yeah, if you want to make us an account, or however it works, if it's one account for the team or it's each of the coaches get an account, I don't know how does that part work.
Right.
What do you recommend for that?
Yeah, so it's up to you. You tell us whatever you want, right? I think it's best if all the coaches have their own account, right? And then, that way it's not all using the same account. If you want to go in, and do stuff, like you said, aid, you donate and all that stuff. So we can do whatever you want, whatever is easier for you. Our whole idea is to make things easier for the coaches.
It would be great. We each do an account, and we're uploading the games. All these players we're recruiting, we get all their touches, which makes it easy to view that. Especially once the fall starts, to be able to quickly access that, give our guys feedback. I think that would be probably the biggest way I'd see using it with the team.
Right. Okay.
Because I'm always going to cut the game on my own for the big picture. And
right.
Then, if we use that as like, here's the, we're making a highlight for the guys, all the guys that play, and then we're, like I said, getting in there and asking questions or. Some key points to think about for each individual. I think that would go a long way.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And then I'll get back to you, and then we can get you guys get going with an account.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks for your time. I definitely
man.
appreciate
Have
it.
a good day.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
See you, buddy.
Coach, I'm talking as a soccer player.
Yes.
If I could have this like 5 years ago, I would have used it for sure.
Yeah, I love what you.
It would be absolutely awesome for me, Rado. I love it, your platform. I would love that more women are in there.
Yes.
Like as you said.
Yes.
I also have my own technical school.
Okay.
I'm a coach in the youth team.
Okay.
Years ago, but I also have a technical academy, not school, like academy.
Okay. How many children?
It's in my town.
Okay.
In any town I'm living, I open it.
Okay.
So here I have, for example, 11 kids.
Okay.
From 9 years to 14 years.
Okay.
And we train like 1 or 2 times a week.
Okay.
And it's just analysis, technically, everything, any step.
Right.
I go see their matches, so then we can train in pitch, like, what are we going to do?
Wow.
No. So your work in your platform, like, I just love it because it makes it so easier.
Right.
Not just to analyze, also to...
And let me know what you want. We can create an account for you to test out the system, to use it and all that, whatever you want, let me know.
Yeah. For me, Rado, really, sincerely, I'm open to work with you guys anytime you need.
Okay.
It's really interesting, everything you said. I've loved the platform. So anything you really need that, hey, let's put it here, let's do this, I'm open up.
Okay.
Really.
Perfect. So we'll try to see if we create an account for you. Also tell them who to go. But that's the whole idea of the marketplace, right?
Yeah,
and any coach in there has their own account and they charge whatever they want.
Yeah. We fix an agreement, as you said, before anything. And okay.
Right. Okay.
Perfect, Rado. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for giving this to soccer players because it's marvelous, really.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
For taking me to count, really.
Yeah.